Some people just shouldn't have kids, man. I'm sorry, some people are not fit to be parents. Today we're reacting to a video about how VTubers harasser turned out to be their mother.
By now, I'm sure you're probably very familiar with a simple concept. It's the idea that whenever something becomes successful or popular, it'll naturally attract negativity. And
yeah, it doesn't matter. We see that especially these days where look at the anime community, for example. Every time an anime takes off and it becomes popular, there's like a side of anime fans, they immediately start shitting on it and saying, oh, this anime is garbage, blah, blah, blah. It could be like a really good anime, but people will always go out of the way to hate on something was popular because it makes them seem like they have some type of better, more refined taste in anime because they don't like the popular thing and they only watch super niche, types of anime. That shit drives me crazy. It's also video games as well. Really any type of entertainment.
we don't really have to go that far to find an example, because it could be the cutest, most adorable little kitten imaginable. If
someone's gonna hate it.
Popularity, then it will naturally become hated by some people.
It's going to be somebody out there to tell you why this breed of cat is awful or problematic and why you shouldn't own this type of cat. It really is ridiculous these days, man. It's gotten so blown out of control. And it's just because people want clicks. They want attention, so they'll do anything for it, man.
And throughout the years, as many others have discussed this topic, they refer to it as the price of success. But what if you attract haters as a tiny content creator, as someone who is not, in society's eyes, successful?
It fucking sucks. It's annoying because it's just like, why are you going out of your way to hate on someone who hasn't even done anything yet? You know, they haven't even had the opportunity to make content to hate. Like, even I go through this. Like, I'm not a big creator by no means, and I get hate comments. I get my fair share of hate comments. I don't let it get to me because I understand that it comes with the territory. And if it is somebody, and if they do leave something that's really, like, I don't know, fucked up, I just ban them from the channel. But like sometimes what I like to do, if I get mean comments and it's not like a serious something that I need to remove from my channel, I'll just like kind of troll them and respond to it and get them to come back and just do back and forth without even really giving a fuck. They don't realize that they're being like farmed for interaction for my video because comments are good for your channel or just TikTok, whatever it is. Just troll them, get them to leave get them to leave comments and use them for content. They don't even realize it. It's pretty funny.
What if you have a small audience and mind your own business and somehow you still manage to attract someone who hates your guts?
And the only way to, like, as a small creator, to handle negativity or hate without losing focus is just, if you're just starting out, just ban them. Get them out of your space. Don't think too much about it. Don't take it personally because this person is just going out of their way to be weird or whatever. Like, if you can't handle it as a small creator, you're not going to handle it as you grow and get bigger and bigger because it's only going to get worse. So you got to, unfortunately, you just have to build a thick skin to it. And it's better to do it when nobody's watching and gradually do it over time than just immediately blow up and get tons of hate comments immediately, because that'll cause like serious mental damage, man. I'm telling you.
Well, it's a real problem. You know, it's one thing to have 1,000 people love you and 100 hate you versus having 20 people in your chat and one person hating your guts. It's very demoralizing, and there's quite a few smaller or up-and-coming content creators who give up because of this.
I'm going to be so real with you, and I don't mean to sound mean, but if you're just starting out and you're letting that one person in your chat trolling you make you consider quitting, then it might not be really the route that you want to take in life. Because like I said, if you can't handle that one person in your comment trolling you or whatever, you're not going to be able to do it when you get bigger and you have dozens, possibly hundreds of people trolling in your chat. So you got to learn to just deal with it, man. You got to, like I said, build a thick skin.
But of course, they do so assuming that the people hating on them are total strangers. People who they never met, people who they don't know. But what if your biggest hate watcher, the person trying to demoralize you the most, the person who will make accounts to hate on you in your chat, the person who will hire people to go and find you at conventions or events, is your own mother? Yes, the woman who literally birthed you. The person.
I'm going to be so real with you, man. I don't even know how I would handle that. Like, it's one thing to deal with somebody with comments from people you don't know because they don't fucking matter. Strangers on the internet, you can just ban them, block them, remove them from your space and move on with your day. It doesn't matter. But if it's somebody that you potentially live with, your own parent, that might cause you to, like, I don't know. At that point, you got to figure something out. You got to move out something. I really don't know what I would do in that situation. And I thank God that this is not me, because that's wild.
Who's supposed to love you unconditionally when no one else would. It sounds ridiculous, right? Almost unbelievable. But unfortunately, That's exactly what happened to the VTuber Wakarase Choro. Her mother was such a hater that Choro decided to just straight up leave and go live by herself to avoid her, and just as people thought that she
I think that's the only thing you can do. Like, if you're trying to do something and your parents are like trying to like they're trying to, what's the right way to put this? They're holding you back and they don't believe you can do something, which is the opposite, that something that your parents should do. Like if you're a good parent, you should support your kid and help them be successful. But that's really the only option you have when you're in a situation where your parents are saying, no, you can't do this, blah, blah, blah. You really, the only thing you can do is move out, find your own space, and do what you want to do. But it sucks for the people who can't just move out. It's not that easy.
might have finally found peace, her mother, of course, took it to ridiculous levels, eventually forcing her to stop all VTuber activities because of her
What?
fear for her own safety. You really, unfortunately, cannot make this shit up. And seeing how the story has started to
Wait, if she moved out, how can she still like force you to not make content or be a VTuber anymore? I don't understand.
resurface recently, I figured we had to talk about it. So let's do this. But first, a quick sponsor. After all,
I mean, I'm be honest, sometimes it's just like if you want to do something in life and your friends or family are saying you can't do it and they're holding you back, whatever reason, sometimes you just got to say fuck them and let them go and continue doing that thing that you want to do, especially if you know you can do it and it's something you're passionate about and you really want to do it. You just got to say fuck it. Sometimes it's time to find new friends. Sometimes it's time to find new family and cut off old family. It is what it is. It's sad, but that's a part of life.
all right, so first things first, this story had concluded back in May of 2025. However, on May 2nd, 2026, the account Anime Trends on Twitter would make a post talking about it as if it had happened recently, garnering hundreds of thousands of views and a lot of engagement.
This is the first time I'm hearing of this. This seems like it's a significant situation. I'm surprised it wasn't more around in the VTubing space, at least a news space. Maybe I just don't pay attention. I'm being honest with you.
11 hours later, on that same day, a Facebook page would take that same image used by Anime Trends, add its own watermark over it, and kind of say the same thing in the description. By May 8th, this had also reached Reddit. So there's a good chance you might have heard of it already. But none of these posts really dive deep into exactly what happened. That's what this video is for. And so I'm sure you're wondering, who the hell is Wakarase Choro, the person at the center of this incident? Well, she was a part of the Japanese VTuber agency by the name of Shinsogumi.
Well, that makes sense why I've never heard of this VTuber. I personally don't really pay too much attention to the Japanese side of VTubing. Not because I have anything against it or I don't like it or nothing like that. It's just a language barrier. Like I can't really watch the streams and the clips because I don't really know what's going on. Like sometimes I'll dive into some, Japanese creators, but for the most part, I really don't pay too much attention to it.
An agency that my channel already has some history with. That's because as I was scrolling through their list of talents, someone seemed very familiar. Someone that I had made a video on in the past, and it actually ended up being the only video on my channel that got age restricted. And that is, of course, none other than the VTuber Tomeru Ikinone. She had used the colors in the game Splatoon 3 as a green screen to stream adult videos live on YouTube.
What?
This was such a big deal at the time back in 2022 that even Nintendo had to make a statement about
That doesn't even make sense. Hey, listen, people do anything for views, man. Shit, I'm gonna be honest with you though, if you was gonna do it, you shouldn't have used Splatoon because Nintendo's gonna come for you. Nintendo's came for people for doing less. I would be more scared of Nintendo in that situation than anything else, if I'm completely 100% honest with you. Nintendo does not play around with their IPs, man.
it, saying that they don't support any of these actions. This even forced her own agency to apologize, but when she apologized, she ended up wearing a dinosaur costume before her entire channel got suspended. And while yes, what she did was definitely crazy, it doesn't mean that all the talents here are crazy as well, alright? This VTuber agency works like any other agency. You have waves. So Tomeru was part of the first wave, there's also a second wave, and a third wave. Wakarase Choro had actually joined them in the beginning of 2023. Her debut date, the first time she ever streamed, was on the 21st of January 2023. Now look, by no means would she become the biggest VTuber on the planet, but throughout her tenure, she would build quite a loyal.
I mean, 14,000 subscribers is actually really good when it comes to VTubing. I guess just content creation in general, because there's like some crazy statistic out there where it's like most channels never even reach like what, 1,000 plus subscribers. If you can hit 1,000 subscribers, you're already like in the top 1% of like YouTube. So 14K is really good, especially for a field as competitive as VTubing.
audience, and they seemed to enjoy her streams very much. She also would grow in a fairly healthy way. On the day of her debut, she would go from 0 to 1,000 subscribers.
Like that's crazy. That doesn't happen at all to people. You don't go from 0 to 1,000 subscribers in one stream only. Granted, she was part of a, like the group or whatever. So I guess she had like a little bit of an install fan base, but still that's significant.
And by September of that same year, within 9 months, she would surpass 10,000 subscribers. Very healthy growth for someone who had just started.
Yeah, I think it took me something on my main channel like a year or so to get to 1,000 subscribers. It's not easy. And even I got lucky, man. I'm not going to lie.
However, after reaching that very impressive milestone of 10,000 subscribers, her streams would all of a sudden become way more sporadic, way more inconsistent. She would take a lot of time off, then come back randomly, with no explanation, confusing her community that's so tight-knit, while also, of course, making them worry about her.
I don't want to assume anything about her, but like I can understand why creators do that because sometimes it's just burnout. Sometimes life gets in the way. Like even me, I'm guilty of it. I'm trying to be better about it, but this isn't like I don't do this full time. So of course I have a full time job and other responsibilities outside of this. And sometimes I can go. I don't like doing it, but sometimes I can go a week or more without making content just because I just don't have the time to do it. It sucks. And every time I have to go an extended period of time without making content, I always feel so guilty, man.
The audience would be left in the dark until February 2024, when Choro would decide to go live with a stream that didn't really match anything she's done before. Kind of like a PowerPoint presentation where she even put glasses on her model. In it, she would reveal for the first time the situation with her mother, about how much it was affecting her, and detailing the toxic dynamic that was present between them.
I feel so bad for people who have parents that don't support them or they just have shitty situations where they're toxic towards them because like life is already hard enough for so many people and just to be born in a family where the one group of people are supposed to take care of you and help you and support you and where you're supposed to feel safe, they don't provide that for you. That's just like a bad role on life, not to trivialize it or make a joke of it. It's just you literally have no control over who your parents are, man. That shit sucks.
The first
I seriously think some people just don't deserve to have children. Like, if you know you're not that type of person to take care of your kids and support them and things like that, don't have kids, man. It's so simple.
PowerPoint slide of the stream would make it very clear what it was about. It would say, Wakarase Choro's decision, the reason why I wasn't able to stream much since around November of last year, and the reason why I had been thinking about quitting as a VTuber, I will tell you everything. She'd say how bad she felt for not streaming for a while for being so sporadic, and about how nervous she was going live with the stream. This is when she'd pull up the next PowerPoint slide, and it would say, reason, my mother's abnormal level of over-interference. Number 1, a mother who imposes her own ideals onto others. Number 2, she constantly interferes with my appearance and hobbies, saying things like, do it this way, or you won't be cute unless you do this. This was everyday stuff according to her.
This sounds like, I could be wrong, but it sounds like her parents or her mom is really trying to help, but she's just completely overstepping her boundaries. Like I said, this I could be wrong. The video is just starting, but that's what it sounds like.
Number 3, if I didn't act the way she wanted, she would excessively insult and verbally abuse me and throw tantrums. And number 4, even when I told her she was the source of my stress, my mother would justify herself saying she was doing it for my sake, then go back to an infinite loop of number 2.
Okay, I obviously I was wrong. It sounds, I don't know. Her mom sounds like she's definitely way too overbearing, man. I couldn't handle that. Fuck that.
Choro would then explain this further, saying that her own mother would sometimes say snide comments like, you're a gamer, so you're a loser, and would really just comment and nitpick on the smallest things. Like even if she didn't do her makeup in the way that her mother approves, she would make a comment on that.
And it's like, why does it even matter? She's a VTuber. She's not on camera. So she could be wearing her fucking pajamas. Like, who gives a shit?
Saying things like, you're not cute at all. This is why you're a failure. This is why you're good for nothing. Even going as far as saying, why am I so unlucky? Referring to the fact that she's her daughter.
Damn, that's cold. You know what? I take back everything I said about her being overbearing. She's got something else going on. She's an asshole. Like, how can you treat your own kid? Like, saying something like that to your kid, like, how can I be so unlucky? Talk about, scarring your children for the rest of your life. It's just like, what do you do? You know, if you don't have the resources to move out, there's so many people in these situations, not even, content creation wise, just in general. They have parents that do not like them or whatever, and they treat them like shit, but they don't have the resources to just leave.
Choro would really emphasize here, saying that she had told her multiple times, "Mom, you are the biggest source of my stress. Please stop." But she had, throughout all this time, started to understand that her mom was never going to accept that because she doesn't think she's doing something wrong. She'd counter this by saying, "No, that's not right. It's because you have no friends. That's probably what's stressing you out. It's probably because you're not even getting popular from streaming." Choro would then say, "Being told these things constantly at home was genuinely really stressful, you know?"
Yeah, it's like it's enough to deal with people telling you that shit online, but then you have somebody in your life right there, a parent in your ear telling you even worse shit. Like, how do you even deal with that mentally? Like, I going into this video, I thought it was gonna be like her mom was like undercover with a secret account online and being weird, but like she's just right there in her ear telling you all this negative shit. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I would fucking snap, man. That shit would drive me crazy.
know? And I mean, I don't think it's hard to imagine, right? Some of you watching might have abusive parents, some of you might have amazing parents, but just picturing yourself in the shoes of someone where their own mother tells them, "You're a failure, and why am I so unlucky to have you?" Yeah, I think that would ruin just about anyone's mood. Then the final slide would show up in the stream. It would say, "About being a VTuber. I want to really commit and work hard at being a VTuber this year, but since I've also started working a regular job, being 100% a VTuber is difficult. Of course, I'll still try my absolute hardest though. As for daily life, Shinsegumi, the agency, is supporting me in every way, so there's nothing to worry about at all. Also, even after physically distancing myself, my mother's persistent interference won't stop."
Yeah, honestly, if I was able to get out of the situation, had, a company supported me and stuff like that, and I could get my own place. I'm cutting my parents or I'm cutting my mom off completely, zero contact, all of that. And it's like that's the only way to get past these people. To get past super controlling parents, like by moving out and getting away from them. Sometimes that's all it takes for them to realize how they're treating you. But that's not to say all parents are like that. Some parents are just assholes, they're just shitty parents, and it's best just to get them out of your life completely.
So I want to do my best to resolve that side of things as quickly as possible. She would add on to this by saying just how grateful she is to the agency and thanking the founder and head of the agency.
At least she has
a
the agency to
lot.
help her
And
out.
she
That's
wanted to
good.
keep going as a VTuber, even though her mother at the time would keep saying quit, 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 quit over and over. She'd of course thank her community for being there for her, for actually giving her compliments, for actually saying nice things as opposed to her mother. And then after some more talking to the chat, the stream would end. So here was the situation. Choro was dealing with a psychopath of a mother, someone who was making her life a living hell. During this tumultuous time, around the end of 2023 or so, she would reach her limit and would decide, you know what, she's my mother, sure, but she's making my life hell. It's time to distance myself from her.
Sometimes, you just got to go all in and be like, fuck it. You got to cut off certain people. And if that's family, then that's family. It is what it is. Some things are more important than family. I know that sounds crazy out loud, but it's the truth.
This is when she would take the big decision to move out. However, in order to live by herself and actually support herself, she had to take on a full-time job as well as continue VTubing. But here's the catch, and she mentioned this during the stream. Even though she had distanced herself physically from her mother, she had gone and lived by herself, wanting to forge a new path for herself, her mom was not leaving her alone. She kept trying to interfere and to continue making her life a living hell. Now, by this point, we genuinely had no idea how she was doing that. The only thing her fans were hoping for was that she can figure things out.
And the crazy part is they said that she had to leave and get a full-time job. Like that, I couldn't imagine trying to go through all this, try to make a VTubing career work, a content creation career work, and then your parents not supporting you, so you move out so you can do it on your own and not have to have it interfere with you. But then, of course, you got to work the full-time job. And if you've ever worked a full-time job while trying to make content creation work, you understand how exhausting that job can be. And then you come home and you just don't have the energy or the willpower to make content. And then on top of that, you have your mom, you know, constantly berating you or whatever and just interfering. This whole situation fucking sucks, dude.
Unfortunately, though, even when it came to the standard of what a crazy mother is, Choro's mom beat all and any expectations you would have of how far someone can take this.
What was she like, making fake accounts and like leaving fucked up comments and stuff on her videos or her streams?
One could argue that leaving actually made Choro's life even more of a living hell, and eventually, her mother's harassment would be simply too much to bear. Japan is a country in which murder doesn't just happen every single.
Whoa, that took a fucking dark turn. I was expecting this to turn into a murder case. I'll be honest with you. I just thought I don't know what I thought, but I didn't think it was going to turn into a murder case, as he's alluding to anyway.
Day. Well, at least for the ones that are actually reported. So much so that when a murder does actually happen, especially in a high-profile public manner, it gets reported on all over the world because it's such a big deal. For example, you might have seen how on March 26, 2026, a female Pokemon store employee was the victim of a knife attack.
I mean, I don't know if that's true because I think Japan is just it's a language barrier thing, right? So when something um crazy happens, sure you hear about it in different places of the world, but they have crime, they have murder and stuff like that just like any other country. Is it as much as others? Sure, maybe not as much, but I hate the idea that people try to make Japan seem like this utopia in, among every other place you can live in the world, like this amazing place, as if the place doesn't have its own issues. It's just a language barrier, and from what I see, they like to keep things to themselves, I guess.
But what was the motive? Was the man behind this just someone who was thirsting for death? No. In fact, he was an ex-lover. They had broken up barely a year ago, and during that entire time, he was stalking her. Of course, she would complain to the police. Of course, she would try to do something about it, but nothing happens until it's too late. In Japan and many other countries around the world, stalking can be done by anyone, regardless of gender and regardless of relation.
That's like a situation that we've heard so many times where someone's being stalked and they report them to the police and they're just like, oh, our hands are tied. We can't do nothing. Meanwhile, the person's fearing for their fucking life. Like this person's threatening me, or I fear they're going to go further. And then the authorities or whoever's supposed to help, they're just like, oh, there's nothing we can do. You can get a restraining order, as if that means anything to somebody who means to do harm to you. And then the next day or a few days later, guess what happens? The person ends up being attacked and killed or whatever. And police are like, oh, how did this happen? If only we could have prevented this.
The same inefficiency goes for a mother trying to stalk their kid. And so even though Choro tried to find some sort of solution to make this stop, she was faced with a very unfortunate reality. And that's the fact that if she really wanted peace, she had to graduate and cease being a VTuber. This announcement would come all of a sudden, without anyone expecting it, on May 16th, 2025, almost a year after that stream where she had explained to everyone her situation. The Shinsogumi official Twitter account would post, "We hereby report that our affiliated member, Wakarase Choro, will be graduating from Shinsogumi as of May 31st, 2025.
That's so shitty that her parents or her mom interfered with her so much that she gave up on her dream of being a VTuber or the effort she was putting in. Because what they showed earlier with her numbers, she seemed like she was on the up and up, like she was going places, right? And now she can't. Like, I wonder what's happened to her after this. Did she continue and do something else, or she just straight up quit?
For details, please see below. Here's what it had to say. Thank you very much for your continued support of Shinsogumi. Regret to inform you that Choro, a member of our team, will be graduating on May 31st, 2025. For detailed reasons regarding her graduation, please watch the live stream on the Choro YouTube channel today, May 16th, 2025 at 7 p.m. In summary, there was a major conflict between Choro and her family, and concerns about physical interference at events and filming locations gradually caused her emotional distress, making it difficult for her to continue her normal activities. The Shinsogumi team.
Wait, was her mom like physically threatening her or something like that? Is that what I'm getting from this, or am I misunderstanding that?
Continued discussions with her to see if there was any way to continue her activities, but rather than forcing her to continue, we respected her mental state and wishes and accepted her request to graduate. The graduation livestream is scheduled to take place on May 23rd. They would then detail how everything on her socials is going to be privated as her graduation takes place. So as this notice mentioned, Choro would also at the same time tweet that she'd be having a stream at 7 p.m. on the same day. But before we get to that, I just want to point out how even by Japanese graduation letter standards, this wasn't really seen before. Typically, these notices are kept very simple, very straightforward and professional.
Wait, so there was no murder involved? Why did he bring that up earlier? Or is it just too early in the video? I really hope it doesn't end in murder, man. I'm gonna be so upset.
Hey, this person decided to leave because they found, I don't know, some other creative avenue they want to pursue. But saying that they're leaving because of physical interference by family who was stalking them at conventions and events is definitely next level. Her audience was shocked, but even Japanese bystanders seeing this on their feed on Twitter were also shocked. Wait, what? Physical interference by family? It was very unfortunate. This was someone who was really enjoying what they were doing. Many were rooting for her, and here we were. It seemed like she was defeated. So of course, many were looking forward to her stream to see what the hell happened. Now look, obviously by now, her entire channel's been privated, okay? The only thing
Oh, so she just straight up quit. Damn, that fucking sucks, man.
still there is the May 23rd graduation stream. However, right after this, she would conduct a members only stream. And that's when she would get into the nitty gritty, the shocking details about how far her mom was taking being a hate watcher. Now, the graduation stream itself would be good vibes. It'd be wholesome. She would bring on the head of her agency, and she would bring on some other guests as well. Her community was also there to support her as much as they can. And as I said, this was a small community, but they were very passionate and they were very tight-knit. This can truly be seen here. Now, at the end, the vibes would turn more, I don't know, tragic, sad, I guess. She'd give a little bit of a speech, thanking everyone for being there for her.
Does this type of thing happen in like the IRL streaming space? I wonder. Like, you don't really hear stories of parents being someone's biggest like hater or being like excessively ruining their chances at content creation or something like this. Like, this is the first time I'm hearing a situation like this. And I wonder if this is something that's ever happened in like the IRL content creation space. Because this is such a fucked up story.
For being a source of positivity when she needed it the most, but would also really make sure to remind everyone that this was a positive graduation. She wasn't leaving for negative reasons. If anything, the agency wanted her to stay. It's just that she just so happened to have found a new path she wants to pursue in life, and that's it. She'd
Okay, you know what? I'm happy she found something else she can do because I was getting the impression like this is something she really wanted to do, but the reason she couldn't do is because, the situation with her mom. And so she's just like quitting and then giving up. But, it's nice to hear that it's ending on a positive note.
give a motivational speech to her fans, telling them that if there's something that's stopping you from pursuing what you want in life, do it, and don't be swayed by the negative opinions of others. Then she would
W
end the
motivation.
graduation stream by saying, "You don't even have to say my name. Just remembering me every once in a while would mean the world to me. See you next time." One could confidently say that Choro, even though she's went through hell on earth and had taken this decision to separate from something that she really enjoyed doing and appreciated, still managed to end on a high note. And in order to do that, I mean, it takes guts.
Yeah, that's not an easy situation to deal with. How many people going through that would just straight up disappear from the internet? Or, God forbid the situation ends worse. So, you know what? I got to give props because I don't know how the fuck I would handle a situation like this. Like I said, it's easy to deal with strangers online that you don't know, block and move on. But when it's your own family in your own house, your own parents, like, oh, what the fuck do you do?
But what exactly happened that made her want to pursue a new path? What exactly happened when it came to her family and her fear of it getting into the physical interference territory? Well, at some point during this period of graduation, she would go live on a membership-only stream where she would sing karaoke songs, but would also give more details as to what exactly happened and why she wanted to separate herself from the public life. Now look, her audience, especially her members, the people who actually paid money to be members on her YouTube channel, were already aware of her mother and how crazy she was. They just weren't expecting her to be this crazy. Because according to Choro, her mom would make accounts to type in her chat, and they would be hate messages, right? But seeing that she had to listen to her bicker and complain and insult her every single day, she knew exactly how she typed. She'd look to the chat panel and see her mom typing hate messages, and she'd think in her head, oh, this is my mom.
Yeah, I don't know. That type of shit would make me crash out. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I don't like using the term crash out lightly because it's supposed to be a serious thing. Like, when someone's crashing out, it means they're probably gonna catch a fucking case because they're gonna do something fucking crazy because they just can't, you know what I mean? So I don't really like using the term crash out all the time like most people, but something like that, it might push me over the fucking edge. I'm not gonna hold you.
Like, I might as well ban her, to which her mom would just create another account. But that's not all, of course. Her mom would send people to try to find where she was living, like private
That's
investigators
OD.
or whatever. And whenever there was a convention or event that Shora was going to go to, she would also somehow send someone there to try and find her and maybe follow her home. At the end of the day, this mental strain isn't something you can just live with and ignore. It was starting to make her fearful of going to events, of interacting with fans, of continuing this public-facing life.
Yeah, that shit'll definitely get to you. That's way worse than having somebody online stalking you, somebody that you know isn't, you know who it is type shit. Like, you can't function. It's gonna fuck with your mental. Like, how can you make content when you're dealing with something like that, man?
And so because of this surveillance state that her mom had built around her, she found no other solution than to just graduate and focus on her full-time job. It's genuinely tragic, and it sucks that she had to give up something that she genuinely enjoyed doing because her mom couldn't just get a life, I guess.
Especially since it seemed like she has so much potential. Like like I said, she had that decent numbers, and she seemed like she had a good community, around her already. She could have probably went far. Who knows, man?
My heart goes out to her. Look, overall, when I see stories like this, it makes me genuinely wonder how many others are there that are in Choro's shoes but aren't public personalities or just regular people that have to deal with this mental strain every.
There's so many fucking people. Like I said, I'm glad I'm in a situation where my parents are pretty cool. I really, really don't know how I would handle this. The only thing you can do is move out, and that's not something everybody's capable of doing, especially right now. So I don't know. Some people just shouldn't have kids, man. I'm sorry. Some people are not fit to be parents.
Single day. This is when I came across a Japanese user's comment replying to the Anime Trends tweet about Choro. They would say, Choro's mother did the same thing as the mother in the following incident. She said, since I gave birth to my daughter, she is a part of my body, so she must obey my commands forever. This is a tendency seen in some Japanese mothers, to which he would link the Shiga Medical University student.
I hate parents that are like that. They're so controlling. They're like, oh, I raised you. I put a roof over your head. I fed you and I did all this shit. And it's like, yo, in reality, that's your responsibility. That like your kid doesn't owe you shit because you did the basic necessity for that kid. By having a kid, it is your responsibility to be like, to feed and shelter and raise that kid properly until they're old enough to do it themselves. It's not, and just do it because you're supposed to do it and it's the right thing to do it. Your child doesn't owe you anything because of those things. It's your responsibility to do that. I hate parents that use, oh, I brought you into this world type shit.
Mother murder case, Wikipedia. This was a very infamous case that happened in Japan back in 2018, where a Japanese woman had an extremely controlling mother, similar to Choro in some ways. Her mother kept pushing her to be someone that she's not, insulting her, berating her, trying to ruin her life. And so the daughter felt like the only way she could move on with her life and do what she actually wanted to do was to, well, erase the existence of her mother with a knife. Directly after doing so, she would go on Twitter on the 20th.
It's like, I can't even blame people. Like, I don't want people out here killing their fucking parents and committing patricide. You know what I mean? That's insane. But like, what do you expect these people? Like, people can only take so much from their parents before they snap. And sometimes it ends like this, unfortunately.
Of January 2018, and would tweet out, I defeated the monster. Now I can finally relax.
That's crazy.
This case was so fascinating for many that it had become a book.
To get to the point where you feel like the only way you can live your life and live it like happily is by killing your own like mom, bro. Fuck, I don't even have the words for it.
And subsequently became a manga. And I can see why there's fascination about things like this. Because as I said in the intro, many people understand that with success comes hate, envy, jealousy, whatever you want to call it. You expect this from.
Also, some parents are so controlling and they feel like they want to live their life through their kid. And it's okay to want to have your kid do better than you, because that's what you're supposed to do as a parent. You want your kids to be better than you are. But some people, they just take it too far, and it's almost like they're sad they weren't able to do something in their lives. So they're overcompensating by being super controlling for their kid and making them do the things that they want to do. They don't realize they're pushing their kids away and making their life a living hell.
Strangers, from people who've never met you or interacted with you, but you would never in a million years expect it from your mother.
Unfortunately, it's something that happens all the time, though.
Inconceivable for people who haven't experienced it, and it's still inconceivable for people who are experiencing it. And that's what Choro unfortunately had to go through. I truly wish her the best, and I hope that she's right now at this very moment living the life she's always wanted to live without anyone telling her otherwise. Take care out there, guys, and if you decide to have children one day, definitely don't make alt accounts to hate on them in the chat if they decide to become streamers.
All right, this was another interesting video by Mujin, bringing an actual topic that I've never heard of or a situation. He's usually pretty good about these things, and I enjoy those kinds of videos. Not that I enjoyed this situation of what she went through. That was a wild story, but still, you understand what I'm saying. But as always, I will leave a link to the original video if you want to watch it without me talking over it. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next one.